I'm Sith King.
And I'm Sonic Sons.
And we're the Rambling Reviewers.
And today we're looking at Star Wars Rebels.
Well, specifically the pilot movie.
The pilot episode movie thing. Is that even so much of a movie? It's just stuff happened in sequence. Shrug.
Yeah. It wasn't that impressive.
It wasn't that impressive. You know, we may be the wrong target demographic for this. They're going for a kids show, and maybe the kids wouldn't care about the details we're going to complain about.
But, you know, but at the same time, you're presenting this to Star Wars fans. You know, the group that made the 501st Stormtrooper Legion, which is where people dress up in cosplay as stormtroopers for fun. This is a fan group that has George Lucas as an honorary member. You're not dealing... This is like the second biggest fan franchise in the world, possibly tied with Star Trek. You're going to run into some problems if you don't at least try to get things accurate.
Yeah, or to put it another way, if you are aiming for the kids, you can do that in a way that doesn't kind of alienate everyone else. And the shining example, of course, is the Batman animated series from the 90s.
Yeah, that was amazing.
Which I look back now, and I'm like, wow, like this is remarkably intelligent in a way I didn't know about as a kid. Comparatively, when I look at old Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, I'm like, I used to love this as a kid, and now I can see I'm smarter than this.
This might... I tried watching the original Transformers. I was like, yeah, look, I love you, Prime, but... There's some rule of cool here, but it's not as good as I thought it was.
No, but Batman holds up better, and, you know, ideally Star Wars Rebels would be a thing that holds up, which probably the original Star Wars itself holds up that way, doesn't it?
Oh, it does, certainly.
Yeah.
But see, another reason why we thought it might hold up is, well, okay, I will grant you that Star Wars The Clone Wars, the CGI show, it didn't start off great. I will freely admit that, but the later seasons were amazing, or at least pretty damn good.
I haven't seen those. Yeah.
Heck, my favorite episode is the episode Massacre, where it involves General Grievous leading an army of droids to fight an army of witches and zombies. And he kicks their asses. It's amazing.
And that would probably appeal to kids too, so yeah.
Yeah, but they present it in a very... They also have, like, mature discussions of what is the Force. They showed how the regular soldiers interacted. Granted, it was because they were allowed to have a PG-13 rating. But still, it was mature. It was action-filled. Sure, it had some face-palming moments. Yeah. But they honestly tried to redeem Jar Jar Binks. And for a bit, they succeeded a little.
Wow. Good luck with that.
This... You'd think they'd have learned their lesson from the Clone Wars, but it feels like this is Season 1 Clone Wars stuff.
And so maybe it gets better later. Like, if there's listeners out there who've seen more of the show and it's better, good on them. We haven't seen that part. We got the DVD that just said Star Wars Rebels on it, and we kind of assumed it was, like, Season 1 of the show. And it's, like, an hour of material, maybe?
Yeah, I mean, when I first got the Korra DVD, it was... For Season 1 of Korra that we just watched, you know, that was the first whatever. But anyway, so Star Wars Rebels. It starts off.
Our main character is Ezra Bridger.
Yeah,
whose name I didn't remember. We have to go look this up on Wikipedia.
We didn't remember any of these guys' names.
There's that guy, and there's that other guy, and there's that.
Yeah, he's a young con artist.
He's like an Aladdin, you know. He's that cool kid who's also a thief, and he, you know.
Yeah, but he's kind of a jerk, too. I mean, like, there's this one point where it seems like it's setting up a pretty standard scene. The Empire is bullying a shopkeep for no reason other than that they're evil. And this is my first problem with the show. First off, the Empire was evil at the top levels. At the bottom levels, even in the movies, we didn't really see the Empire being jackasses for the point of being jackasses. Sure, you had some jerks here and there, but the Empire is essentially the government in this galaxy.
Yeah. I mean, a government can be a jackass, but I grant you, the way it came across in that scene was a little too much rubbing it in. Like, did you know the Empire is evil? Like, yes, we knew. You can get to the next scene now, thank you.
And so Ezra Sorry, I was thinking Deep Space Nine, a far superior show.
Ah.
Ezri Dax. But anyways, Ezra decides to fake a radio transmission that says, "Oh, there's a red alert over here. Make sure to go over there," and they all go. And so Ezra hops down and says, "Hey, I just saved your life," steals some of the guy's fruits, and leaves. I mean, usually the trope is, the guy says, "Hey, I saved your life. Are you okay?" "Yes. Here, have some food as a reward for saving my life." In this case, the guy was like, "You're stealing from me?" What the hell?
Yeah, I mean, whatever. He did have a point with, "I did save your life. I kind of deserve the reward," but it's obviously not the shiny type of hero there.
Yeah.
Not a Luke Skywalker. Yeah, but more of a Han Solo, to be honest.
Yeah. Then we see him decide to steal crates from the Empire using
Speeders.
Empire mopeds. Seriously,
Yeah.
they were the slowest speeders I've ever seen in Star Wars. I could have walked faster than these fucking things.
Yeah,
and they're expected us to be like impressed by this high-speed chase.
It was pretty silly.
And then the titular group of rebels try to steal the crates as well because they contain blasters.
Well, blasters and some of that fruit and stuff.
I guess.
They delivered the fruit to that village later, remember? The blasters they sold to that one fencer guy.
Yeah. So, after the slowest speed chase, another problem here. We see this throughout the entire special. The stormtroopers are horribly incompetent.
Granted, this has happened in Star Wars before.
Okay, yes. But this is, again, right on the heels of Star Wars The Clone Wars, where they made a point of making the clone troopers major characters. Showed them in scenes of unparalleled badassery, holding off entire armies of droids. And here, there is literally a scene where a guy walks out into the open, not even defending himself. The stormtroopers fire at him for like 20 seconds, missing every time.
God, yeah, that scene.
But we'll get to that.
'Cause we actually saw this like a week ago, so I'm remembering now that dumb scene. That was dumb. Okay, so... But yeah, you want the enemy to feel like they're posing a threat, if not just to make them look cool, but to force the characters to do something interesting. And here and there, he'd distract them with the radio or something, but they didn't feel like we're doing really clever things so much as like they're on these speeders, right? And first off, slow, but no one can catch them. And secondly, they got off onto the highway, and we're like, is anyone gonna send like a TIE fighter or something? And then one did show up finally. I'm like, okay, thank you guys. Remember, you have those.
And they
missed.
I mean, it's an extremely slow-moving target. God, how did Luke and the others lose all of those X-wings in the Death Star attack run?
Yeah. Well, and just a side note, Star Destroyers can work in atmosphere now.
Yeah,
that's a thing.
They're not supposed to be able to do that. Imperial Star Destroyers can't do that.
And I know that somewhere, creator guy would be, oh, well, whatever. The kids don't care about these little details.
But we do.
Well, we do. And if you establish limitations, it makes for more interesting stories. It's like, oh, the Star Destroyer can't be here, but it can be there, and therefore, whatever, things change. When everything can kind of just be anywhere and do anything, and it's not clear what the rules are, then it gets sort of mushy, you know what I mean?
Yeah, like they show, in another scene, they showed TIE fighters landed on the ground. TIEs can't do that. It's clearly established in the Essential Guide to Vehicles and Vessels that TIEs need external racks or specialized docking equipment in order to land.
And what would be cool is not just, that fact exists in the universe, but they make use of it. Like, what's his name, Kanan, could say at some point, don't worry, they can't land without their racks, and we just sabotaged them. And then cut to Sabine, blowing up the racks or something, Yeah. And be like, oh, interesting things can happen when you establish rules.
Precisely.
When you break the rules, it gets mushy.
Yeah. I don't care if you have bullshit in your story, as long as you keep your bullshit consistent.
Mm-hmm. So, basically...
Okay, so they
Ezra winds up on this ship called the Ghost with some of the rebels.
With the main cast. The main cast includes Freddie Prinze Jr.
rather Kanan. It says here on Wikipedia, Freddie Prinze Jr. as Kanan Jarrus. Just not actual Freddie Prinze Jr. in this
He's
show.
a Jedi who survived the Purge.
As opposed to all the one, yeah. One of our main characters is a Jedi who died in the Purge. His corpse will be following us around.
Jedi zombies.
Jedi zombie.
No, better. Zombies are overdone. Jedi Frankenstein.
Jedi Frankenstein.
Dark side bad as is fire. Use the Force to put out fire.
So Kanan is, he initially presents himself as a Han Solo type, and then he turns out to be Obi-Wan also. Because,
Except not Obi-Wan.
well, you know
directly,
what I mean. He turns out to be our local Jedi.
Yeah, so he's
in
the leader of
charge
the group.
basically.
Then there's Ed. Oh wait, no.
Just call him Zeb.
Actually, I was reading the wrong entry.
Oh, okay.
And there's Zeb, our local token alien thug character.
He's the big, tough, surly guy.
Who'll go, I hate you, main character dude. I will throw you out the airlock. And then he's like, you're okay, after, like, doing one thing halfway competently.
Yeah, not much happened in the meantime there, but okay.
Yeah, then there's, who's next?
Sabine. The Mandalorian.
Oh, yeah, Sabine, who's a teenage female Mandalorian, which is just so head-scratching at how underwhelming she is. I mean, we see Mandalorians before in Star Wars The Clone Wars. We see their society, their hunter ways. We see their totally badassness. Their leader wielded a black lightsaber. How awesome is that?
Wow, I've not seen that one.
Yeah, it's actually kind of... Okay, they're kind of unimpressive in some ways, but like here's the thing. Jango Fett was an outcast who was kicked out of this group of the Mandalorians, and he was chosen as the template for an army of billion-strong clone soldiers.
Wow.
So pardon me if I have a little bit of a higher bar for how awesome this race of characters should be.
And while you're talking about them having their own culture, wouldn't that be neat if Sabine had her own sense of culture that wasn't like, something we've seen 100 times before,
Yeah.
Now, I actually say, of the people we met, I think Sabine's my favorite character.
Oh, yeah, indeed.
She has that sort of casual danger attitude thing, kind of punk, sort of an Ace type thing from Doctor Who, the punk who's also dangerous.
Perfect attitude for a show about rebels against, the Empire.
I'll grant you that.
I do have to question her the fact that her armor is hot pink. Seriously, we know she's a girl. And also, you're a Mandalorian. Shouldn't you paint your armor something, I don't know, something that isn't visible from fucking orbit?
Yeah.
Okay.
That doesn't make sense. And Hera Syndulla, it says.
So she's a Twi'lek who pilots the ship and is in a sort of romantic relationship with Kanan.
Kanan, yeah. So they're the team dad and mom were, together.
Yeah, Jedi getting me. Jedi before Episode 4 A New Hope in a relationship with a normal human. That hasn't ended horribly in the past.
You had to specify before Episode 4, though, so whatever. We're almost at Episode 4 at this point in the story.
Yeah. These guys are not Luke Skywalker. They're not Han Solo. You're not Chewbacca.
Yeah, the Zeb kind of tries to be.
And there's an astromech droid, too, because we couldn't get R2 to be a regular character in this show. Yeah. But damn it, we're going to have a cute astromech droid for the kids to buy toys
throw
of.
In a protocol droid, right?
Yeah, they got to admit that. And so far, they're all kind of flat.
Yeah.
But they say, oh, what are we going to do with this kid? After they've taken him into orbit.
We're running from the Imperials, I guess.
Okay, here's a thought. Guns in this setting have a stun setting. Shoot him in the head with a stun blaster, take the shit that he had, and then leave.
You could do that. Though I guess he would be thrown in jail. Yeah, think about that. But you could leave him somewhere they wouldn't find him, maybe. I don't know.
I don't know. But anyways, so next on the list of stupid decisions, they decide to go ahead because they got a message saying, hey, there's Wookiees or something.
They're going to get imprisoned, and they're taking him... Well, they find out later. They're taking him to... No, not... What is it? Kessel. They're taking... I was going to say Kashyyyk. Like, they're taking them to Kashyyyk. How dare they?
Yeah.
No, Kessel. All right.
Well, it's parts of Kashyyyk. Whatever. They're taking them to Kessel, and they find out, oh, no! It's a trap.
It's a trap. So,
And
I mean, like, there was a bit of bad guy competence as they approach the. They approach an Imperial vessel and they claim, oh, we've kidnapped a Wookiee and we want the bounty on him. And the Imperial vessel's like, let's launch 2 TIE fighters immediately. And we were like, thank you.
Thank you
There's
for
a
showing
small
competence.
dose of competence there.
And in the cells, they didn't do the standard bad guy trope of actually putting your actual bait into the actual trap. So as soon as they open up the doors, there's legions of stormtroopers behind those doors ready to shoot them. Yeah. They don't hit at all, but, still, that shows...
They were trying, and then a Star Destroyer shows up. Which is cool, and then they escaped the Star Destroyer really easily.
Yeah, dude.
It was
the Rebel the Tantive 4, the Rebel blockade runner from Episode 4. Yeah, that got caught in like 30 seconds, and that was with an official pilot. And god damn it.
Yeah. So they all get sucked up. So Ezra tries to warn them a moment before it all goes down. They're trying to plaster this together. He has this moment oh, why should I help them? I mean, they're not even my friends. Okay, fine, I'll help them and risk my life. But, he's already on the Ghost, which is piloted by Hera. And clearly, if he doesn't go save Hera's, boyfriend or whatever Kanan is, then you're not going home, pal. We will drop you off in the middle of space if we feel
you
like
might go home, assuming, of course, the gravity of the planet manages to ensnare you in the next 4,000 years.
What I'm saying is it's not that much of a moral dilemma in that moment,
Mm-hmm. And Ezra, he has the stupidest weapon that you can tell means this guy is meant to be the kid appeal character. He has a laser slingshot.
He has a laser slingshot. That's
the
not
slingshot
cool.
is the stupidest weapon ever invented. It's mostly used by kids because they're not allowed to have weapons that fucking work.
Yeah, he'd be...
When they say that David killed Goliath with a sling, they don't mean with a slingshot. They mean with a piece of cloth that's flinging a rock around at high speed.
Granted, that would look kind of stupid, too. But better than the slingshot, though.
If the Wookiees had a laser sling, that might actually look kind of interesting.
Oh, maybe. I'm not thinking of Ewoks, though. They had a regular sling.
Yeah, but the Ewoks, let's just avoid
moving
the
on.
Ewoks.
So
he has a laser slingshot that stuns people.
The whole ship gets sucked into the Star Destroyer, and did I miss something, or did they just simply not close the bay doors after they sucked them in?
I'm not sure if Star Destroyers can close the bay doors.
They don't even have bay doors? Oh,
well, not for the big one. I mean, they might for the little...
I don't even know.
There's the big part that's open to space, and then on the inside they have some flat panels that I think are supposed to have bay doors.
No.
But yeah, they didn't close the bay doors or use the tractor beam. Remember how that was a fucking plot point in Episode 4? How Obi-Wan had to go and disable the tractor beams?
Yeah, I mean, they used it to get them in, but not to keep them in, really.
Yeah.
And it's true that Sabine, blew up a chunk of floor at the end there, but I don't think that's where they keep the tractor beams, in the floor.
Yeah.
That was all vague.
And also, I think Imperial Cruise... No, wait, no, that's Interdictor, whatever.
Yeah.
But they didn't send out fighters. They didn't use the fact that the Imperial Star Destroyer is outfitted with a metric shit ton of guns to try to blast them out of fucking space.
Mm-hmm.
And eventually, for some reason, Ezra manages to escape and gets to Kessel.
This is so bland. We have basically forgotten it. Because he did that one bit with the, he got a Stormtrooper's helmet and did another one of those fake radio call things.
Yeah.
Which was alright.
But
then they, basically he got captured, and then they had to go save him, and they did.
They rescued him from a Star Destroyer, which is just all sorts of face palming.
Yeah, it is. It is all sorts of... It wasn't clear exactly what happened and how.
Except that now they're going to Kessel to rescue the Wookiees. And of course, it shows the Wookiees as these innocent, peaceful beings. And the one Wookiee that's having trouble getting... walking to the spice mines is the kid and his mom.
And they're all made of, plastic, too.
Yeah, okay. The Clone Wars had this problem, too. It's the problem with the whole CGI thing. But of course, the Empire has to be bad. It isn't that, these were drug smugglers, or, these that mother ate 5
Now, wait a
people
minute.
because, like, she's a
You
Sasquatch.
wouldn't want them to put that in the story either.
I would. I want it.
You want the Wookiees to be evil people?
I'm sick of people trying to bait my feelings by saying, maybe the Empire is evil. Do you think?
I know. What I'm saying is you took it too far the other direction. You could just have them as adult prisoners, and we just know that they're good guys without them saying it. As opposed to, and now the child is crying. Do you have feelings yet? Yes, we do. Thank you.
Yeah, shut up. Kill the kid. Kill the kid. Kill the kid. I want to see the pelts on the walls.
The Wookiees are on manacles, and I kept thinking, even with manacles, I'm pretty sure the Wookiees could kick you. Like, they could just shoulder check you.
They're
right?
basically Sasquatch if
you.
Sasquatch was a race.
Yep, pretty much.
And so the ghost comes in, and they're here to save the day from the horrible incompetence of the Empire.
And then the Empire has a bunch of...
Okay, here's another problem with the continuity. Kessel is not round. Kessel is shaped like a potato.
And that would be very easy for them to do. It's one shot, or maybe two, where you see Kessel. Just make it a potato. Don't change anything else in the script. Very simple.
I could see this entire awesome scene where they're flying into towards Kessel, and in the background you see like a huge chunk of the sky is just these vortexes of night where the Maw is. This cluster of black holes that plays a huge part of the Star Wars mythology. It's where they designed the Death Star. Maybe with some Imperial Star Destroyers floating near there. Can't you see how awesome that scene would be? Floating down to this weird planetoid that we don't know. What is this place? This is Kessel? It's not like anything we've seen before in Star Wars. And flying down to the spice mines of Kessel. Can't you see it? The Wookiees slaves mining at the bottom of this pit.
Yeah.
Occasionally like spider legs reaching up and grabbing one and dragging them down.
See, that would make more sense because it's them actually doing the job they have to do. So you're not just getting, they're suffering, but also this is what they're here for. As opposed to when the kid is crying, you don't even know why they're being captured. It's vaguer that way, and it feels more just like pulled out of thin air.
Yeah. So anyways, then they decide to attack. But no, wait, the bad guy for this episode, who we haven't mentioned before because he was so fucking incompetent we didn't feel it worthy to mention him, shows up. And guess what? He has stormtroopers!
And by the way, how did the ghost get to Kessel? When the freaking... it's a huge Imperial outpost, isn't it? Right next to where they're designing the Death Star. Present tense.
Yeah.
Ghost just kind of wanders in there like, we can do that.
Okay.
See, you need these rules, man. It's like,
I mean, I will grant that the Maw is a top secret facility that very few people know about, and it was a big surprise when the New Republic actually discovered the place.
Right. Well, no, I'm not saying that the ghost ship, that the ghost crew, the rebels would know about it. I'm saying the Imperials would know about it and go, holy shit, who's approaching our borders?
Yeah, and even if the only defenses for the Maw were inside the Maw itself, we're just saying that because that's how it was in canon, and like a lot of people were totally confused about that. The Imperials still have a presence on the base. They maintain prison camps there. And if insurrection is something they're concerned about, they should have ships in orbit to prevent you from doing that. I don't care if you have a Star Destroyer doing it. You should have some sort of presence other than like one TIE fighter.
So then a bunch of stormtroopers show up, and we're all hiding behind these convenient crates that exist everywhere in the galaxy.
Waist-high walls.
Waist-high walls.
And this is where it's officially revealed that Kanan is a Jedi because he stands up, the stormtrooper's not stopping shooting him this entire time. He walks out for like 20 seconds. This is before he ignites his lightsaber, stupidly revealing the fact that he is in fact a fucking Jedi. You know, one of these guys that you're supposed to be hunting down in this present tense of the galaxy.
I mean, look, I will grant that in a dire circumstance, he might need to use his lightsaber. That makes sense. It's the 20 seconds when he's not even using it and they still can't hit him that gets me. It's supposed to be all dramatic, and maybe the implication is that he's, like, using the Force to make them miss or something, but that's not clear in the slightest.
A hero should succeed despite overwhelming odds. Not a hero should succeed because the enemies are too incompetent to breathe.
Just is so dumb. Yeah.
And oh god, and they're all engaging in wacky hijinks where they beat the stormtroopers. Ezra is chasing after a kid Wookiee who ran away and the Inquisitor is here, and he's going to shoot them.
Oh wait, the Inquisitor was actually just on the radio. Remember?
Oh yeah,
that one guy
that
talked
other
to the
guy.
Inquisitor. Yeah, the other guy.
Obviously, evil McEmpire dude is
Yeah.
going to shoot them for
being
being
rebels and just shooting them.
Yeah. Oh, and then they get away with the Wookiees.
Yeah, and they got them all into a cargo crate and then picked it up and flew away, and nobody chases them apparently. I mean,
Nobody chases them, and apparently the container is airtight.
Yeah. Oh dear God, I hope it was. And then we rescued all the. Oh, never mind.
We don't tell anyone about this mission.
I mean, you could have done so much more with
And
this.
Ezra is revealed, oh, he's force sensitive. So the implication is that Kanan is going to start training him.
Yep.
Fuck you. See, the reason why Luke being a Jedi was such an impressive thing was because it was implied that the Empire was really fucking good at rooting out Jedi and Force users. He was the first of a new generation of Jedi. Revealing that, no, the Chosen One guy that we had all set up, yeah, he wasn't actually the Chosen One.
There are other Jedi out there, and I guess do they all just die before Episode 4 in order to make the canon fit? That's a dark thought. Honestly though, the people that make this show wouldn't care about fixating on the canon. They'd just be like, well, a bunch of Jedi are alive. Sure.
Yeah, because, it wouldn't be, because heaven forbid we might be fucking sick of seeing all the Jedi running around after Star Wars The Clone Wars and Star Wars Episode 2 and 3.
You like the Clone Wars.
Okay, yes, but I the parts I liked best were the parts where they weren't fixated on the Force. I liked the parts where it was normal people doing normal people things, not magic knights in space with laser swords.
But the witches are good with you.
Well, they were evil and they were getting slaughtered by robots.
Oh, I see. It's the robots that make it all.
But still, okay, aside from that part, my favorite parts were the episodes where they focus on the clones. The normal guys who were busy fighting for their lives against the invincible infinite robot armies.
Yeah, it'd be cool if Kanan wasn't a Jedi and therefore Ezra's not getting trained by him. Again, making some more rules on yourself to do interesting things with, There was no sense of tactics by anybody. We kept looking. We want, some interesting sense of battle tactics, and it wasn't there.
Yeah,
and I know in a lot of my favorite movies, the tactics don't actually make sense when you think about it, but at least it seemed cool at the time. This didn't even seem cool.
It was just lame. In something Star Wars, when you have a franchise called Star Wars, and you make the war boring, that's half of your premise that is dull and uninteresting to the audience.
So we didn't like it very much.
Yeah. It ignored how the ships and mechanics are supposed to work. The characters weren't very likable in general.
They
were very flat. The tactics were dumber than hell. They tried way too hard to make the Empire unsympathetic.
It didn't feel like part of a larger coherent world. Star Wars was always great about this, about referencing things that you didn't get to see on screen. But you just get the sense of, oh, there's stuff out there, and many Bothans died and so forth, and who are all these?
It tells us this amazing story. Many Bothans died to bring us this information, and it reveals this whole cool thing where it's like, oh, there was some Black Ops groups undertaken by the Bothans. Who are the Bothans? We don't know.
Yeah, it was interesting.
They built a whole backstory around for the Bothans around that one sentence. I swear to God. They made it so the Bothans' homeworld doesn't actually have any heavy animal labor, large animals for them to hunt or anything.
Okay.
And it's too mountainous for them to transport large vehicles of war. So their entire culture is based around espionage and forcing people to resign via unearthed information.
Spies, eh? Very good spies. Interesting. So you could have had so many references dropped, especially as Ezra is just dropped into this world about the rebels and how they organize, and some reference to Mon Mothma and the various oh, some friend of mine died last week. He was on another ops, and we don't even see that guy. Right.
Oh, make sure that this information gets back to Bail Organa.
Right. And don't make it just, Mothma and Organa. Reference some other new characters too. But like, there's a whole network going on. It's very interesting. And how much do we want Ezra to know? The tension of do we accept Ezra as a member is more interesting when you actually have information that maybe outsiders shouldn't know. And as far as I can tell, it's really just these people completely on their own, doing very ad hoc anti-Empire things, and not really under any threat while they do it.
Because the Empire is so fucking incompetent that they can't even aim.
Yeah, they can't even aim. I mean, I know that the Stormtroopers didn't hit anybody in the escape from the Death Star in Episode 4, but at least it felt like they would hit somebody.
Yeah.
People were running scared, Mm-hmm. And as a side note, they were technically ordered to allow everyone to escape so they could track the ship back to Yavin 4.
So they had an excuse. Yeah. And heck, let's take the Stormtroopers when they were storming the Rebel base in Empire Strikes Back. You got the sense that they were driving the Rebels running scared.
Yeah.
The Empire had our heroes running. It was a total curb stomp on behalf of the Empire. Mm-hmm. The only people who got out were those who managed to escape under the cover of the ion cannon.
And wouldn't that be interesting if you played it with this notion of determination, but I need a better word for it, where, yes, the Empire rules us all, but there's a certain grit to the rebels, and we're going to keep fighting even if we die. It doesn't have to be super dark, but there's got to be something there.
We're going to keep fighting even if we die. With our legion of Frankenstein monster Jedi!
Right. But the point being, though, that they would have ideals that they live by, besides just generic, we're the good guys. But, like, there's a resolve to it that would be inspirational to Ezra, and that can only happen if they're really facing heavy odds. And it's more of a hobby, almost. Like, hey, you want to go and mess with some rebels? Oh, okay, here's what we do.
You mean Empire? You said, want to go mess with some rebels.
Oh, yeah, mess with the Empire. You want to mess with the Empire? Oh, yeah, sure, why not?
Yeah, you didn't get a sense that there was any reason why these guys were annoying the Empire, aside from they used to do parkour before they got too tame for them.
Obviously.
Okay, the Jedi might have a reason, but he doesn't show any emotion over the fact that everything he knows is dead.
Yeah. I mean,
granted, it was several years. The show explicitly takes place like 14 years after
Order 66, but let's just imagine a Jew 14 years after the Holocaust. How does he feel about it?
Yeah.
Yeah, that should be kind of a thing. A big. He had like a moment, small moment here and there, but
have Kanan have an artificial arm from where like he got his arm chopped off, evading Darth Vader.
That'd be cool. Or invading the Inquisitor, if you want to make that your main guy.
Okay, yeah, do that. Give everyone like a sense that everyone was joking and laughing and having fun. Even that's what's her name? The Mandalorian girl. Sabine was like, I'm just doing this to tag things with my graffiti that explodes for some reason. Mm-hmm. Okay, granted, exploding graffiti is kind of cool, but
yeah, that's why she's our favorite character.
But you don't get a sense of she's fighting because she lost something.
She mentioned like one time.
You know what this is?
Yeah,
it's
we've all lost
Firefly
something.
without the angst.
And less creativity.
Okay, yeah.
And less.
Okay, but saying less creativity than Firefly is like saying, oh, the
Van Gogh's The Room is less creative than Starry Night. There you go.
Sure, let's go with that. I don't know, it's essentially a meaningless statement because Firefly was so creative and amazing.
Right. And that is a great comparison, though, because Firefly had such interesting characters, and they bonded so well that they'd be over the kitchen table laughing about some weird story.
Heck, the first episode had a scene where they had to also decide, should we take this guy along when it's revealed that he has a frozen naked chick in a cooler.
Yeah, that's a weird thing to have with you.
Okay, but it was River Tam.
I know, it made sense in context.
Yeah, it wasn't nearly as creepy as I'm just... Actually, it was just about as creepy as I was describing it. Yeah, see? They handled that much better because it was like, okay, this is a ship full of criminals, and everyone knows that there are criminals on this ship, and they're trying to debate, should we bring even more attention down upon us?
Right,
But
right.
here, it's like, we have this thief. He's fine.
Yeah, sort of shrug. Well, and think of Mal, for instance. So we do pronounce it Mal. I'm sorry, Mal. I always
Mal?
Mal. I'm thinking of Mal because when River says it means bad in Latin, and that's actually pronounced Maul in Latin. Anyway,
Darth Maul joins the
Maul
cast.
joins the cast. So Mal, he had some darkness in his past. He had been a member of not the rebellion. You know, the side that lost. What was it called? Come on, Alliance versus those people that
Empire.
lost in that valley.
The Browncoats.
Browncoats. He was a member of the Browncoats and lost, and was sort of a veteran that way. And yet he could also had a lighter side to him at the exact same moment. It all fit
Jane,
together.
I'd say my days of not taking you seriously are just about reaching the middle.
Yeah, see? And yet he also had something about him that made you feel there was depth to him.
Yes.
And Kanan, I mean, I won't say it's like ridiculous he's, making jokes or something, but he's just not as deep and as interesting. The
big thug guy, Zeb, I think.
Zeb, he's, he's the big
just
thug
a
guy.
thug. And
just
honestly,
a-
we got Jane would be the equivalent in Firefly, and even he had his own interesting quirks. Like, okay, now, am I gonna have to get real tough with you or something? And he said that to this Alliance stooge, and the Alliance stooge spills his guts. Jane rolls his eyes and say, "Oh, come on! You're not even trying to hide the fact that you're bullshitting me, are you?" And he goes on this lecture about how this thing is supposed to go.
Yeah.
Do you know what the chain of command is? It's the chain that I Rutten beat you with until you understand who's in Rutten command.
Pretty much.
And then there's one episode where he gets a hat from his mom, and he wears that for the rest of the episode. And says he has family somewhere, and he loves her.
Yeah. And I was gonna say, it'd be interesting if Kanan and the other rebels are providing to Ezra a sense of purpose, and there's a resolve and grit and a higher ideal that Ezra himself has never really lived up to. Which, by the way, at the end of the pilot, wouldn't it be great if he gave that guy his freaking fruit back? Little character development. He realizes,
Or at least money for the fruit.
money for the fruit, whatever.
Because it's
an IOU. But then on the flip side, Kanan is a little. In my hypothetical version of things, Kanan is war scarred, right? Because he's been through a lot and he's fighting on the losing side of this new war and all that. And Ezra provides to him that sort of youthful optimism and a new look on life and stuff. And they could bond over this mutual need that the other one is providing something that he doesn't have. You know what I mean?
Oh my god, and remember when he started quoting, like, famous Jedi? And he totally made it realize, wow, that does not sound cool coming from you.
I forgot what the quote was.
Do or do not, there is no try. What does it even mean?
Oh, no, yeah, that wasn't even in the show, though. That was the preview for what's coming up next.
Okay, yeah, but I'm still counting it because...
Yeah.
What does that even mean? I don't know. Master Yoda made it sound good, though.
All right.
Thank you for ruining all the magic about that.
I'm okay with that. I don't know. If Yoda had said, I don't know what it means, that would kind of ruin it for me. But other people have their own opinions.
Well, yeah, it's just...
But yeah, so you need these more interesting emotional bonds going on and people learning from each other and how they could possibly be a family, as opposed to sort of designated heroes shrug type of
I want to say
thing.
designated heroes so much
Well, yeah,
as...
not designated in the sense of like, oh, they're doing evil, but we're going to pretend like they're the heroes. But just like, these are the people you should care about. Ding. And not really justifying it as much as, say, Firefly did.
Yeah. You understand those were the good guys because everyone else was even worse than they were.
And you got to know them as deeper people, as something you could really think about, And this is...
Not
sort of
that.
shrug, I kind of already know everyone's lines in advance a little bit.
Yeah. The big thug guy will say something big and thuggish, like, we will go blow them up, or let's rip them to shreds, or blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, again, more detail with it. Oh, and then the one time Ezra gets the holocron thing, it has like a...
And he somehow accidentally activates it while he decides to meditate for no reason.
It was vague.
And then Obi-Wan Kenobi starts speaking out of it, again for no reason.
Well, then Obi-Wan Kenobi gives him this it's like the least informative thing in the world. It's like, well, we're screwed, and may the Force be with you. Like, Obi-Wan, you didn't have anything more important to say. And,
okay, so, yeah, the Jedi are being exterminated. Run and hide.
He didn't even seem all, like...
Sucks to be you, bitches!
He didn't even seem, like, weighed down by that knowledge. It was like, there are 7 planets in the Mengar system. Also, the Jedi are being exterminated.
And keep in mind, when he made this recording, Obi-Wan was in the middle of the temple, which was full of corpses of children and friends he's known his entire life.
Did it say he was in the temple?
Well, yeah, because that's where the beacon system was.
Oh, okay then.
Also, he was dealing with the fact that his best friend, who he'd just seen a few days before, he'd made excuses for a second. Oh, okay, he's a little hot-headed. He's overwhelmed. He should be overwhelmed at this point, saying, oh my God, how did I not see that my best friend, the man I considered my brother, a family member, I love him, how did he become a Sith Lord who's obeying Darth Sidious and slaughtering everything that he should care about?
The ultimate betrayal. Since it would be interesting if Obi-Wan had if we're going with Kanan as a Jedi, which we don't have to, but if they kept that in, if Kanan and Obi-Wan had known each other, and Obi-Wan had told him about Anakin's turn after it happened, and now Kanan is hypersensitive toward Ezra doing anything, even vaguely immoral, because he doesn't want to raise the next Vader as his apprentice, right? That'd be kind of interesting.
Yeah.
And this Ezra would have to prove himself, and Kanan would need to learn to trust him, and back and forth, and interesting stuff.
Yeah, but at the same time, Obi-Wan was just matter of fact. After all the things, the slaughter, the massacre, the death, the horrible betrayal, the fact that the Republic he'd fought for years turned out to be an instrument of the Sith, that all he'd been doing was defending the corpse of a dead Republic for generations.
Yeah. Frankly, Episode 3 had this problem too. It's like, and he yells
the
at...
novelization made it a lot better.
I read that the novelization was better. I didn't think it was a lot better personally.
I did.
But in Episode 3 at the end, after he yells at Anakin that one time, they're like standing around with that scene that sort of plasters Episode 3 and 4 together awkwardly. Mm-hmm. And he's like, I will take the boy to Tatooine and watch over him. And I'm like, you're remarkably calm about everyone dying 2 days ago.
Well, I personally think that that's being emotionally drained because, 1, everyone he knows died. 2, the Sith won. 3, he just fought a duel to the death against a dude over an exploding volcano base.
That's my point.
I don't know. I'd be kind of wiped after that. Yeah. My personal headcanon, he didn't know what he agreed to until he was sleepwalking right there. He was like, sure, I'll take I'll shake it.
God.
And 3 days later, he wakes up. What did I agree to?
I keep daydreaming about ways to fix the prequels. I know we already did that video, but I keep coming up with more details that make it even cooler, and I want to go back in time and make it happen, but I can't. And Star Wars Rebels isn't helping much either, because they're showing me that Star Wars can still be mediocre. Thanks. Thanks for pointing that out. Okay, now I know.
And knowing is half the battle.
G.I. Joe! Alright, I think we've said all we need to say. Is that it? Yeah, good?
Oh, yeah, I'm pretty good.
Okay.
I'm Sith King.
And I'm Sonic Sons.
We're signing off.